Go, Fritz.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
The Bears. The Bears.
I am the great Cornholio.
We'll see what happens.
Playoffs?
See, Sean McDonough, Jay Billis. Goats!
Can you play a song? Something cool. Put my mic on!
I'm calling both games.
Oh, baby!
Are you serious?
Goes down the field for Smith.
Oh, he got it!
Seattle. We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
On to the MLB lockout. After a short meeting, I think it was like not even 20 minutes, the MLB instituted a lockout, which means no free agency signings, no trades, no communication between team staff and players of any kind. Players can still communicate with each other, just they can't communicate with like the manager or the team doctors or the assistant coaches or the hitting coach or the pitching coach, or you get the point. And to comply with federal law, with no collective bargaining agreement in place, the MLB cannot use players' names, images, or likeness. That has led to players' faces being wiped off of profile pictures on the team rosters on team pages on MLB's website. The MLB has now, since, with all that being considered, they can't post news articles using the team, the player's name, likenesses, all that good stuff. So MLB has been posting these generic articles about the history of the game and other generic content over the past few days, which is really funny, actually, because with the classic picture of a bag of baseballs, there was one article that read, quote, "You may notice the content on this site looks a little different than usual. The reason for this is because the collective bargaining agreement between the players and the league has expired just before midnight on December 1st, and the new CBA is currently being negotiated between the owners and the MLBPA, the Players Association. Until a new agreement is reached, there will be limitations on the type of content we display. As a result, you will see a lot more content that focuses on the game's rich history. Once a new agreement is reached, the up-to-the-minute news and analysis that you've come to expect will continue as usual." It's so incredibly laughable, right? that it's almost laughable to the point that it's sad. And here's an example of the top stories according to MLB.com in the past few days. Here are the top story headlines. Every player making a Hall of Fame ballot in 2022. Ichiro shows up to high school, blast dingers. Maris up for Hall of Fame consideration. Storylines to watch on the 2022 Hall of Fame ballot. The Hall of Fame case, Minnie Minoso. A 27 strikeout no-hitter? No big deal. Vin Scully, my thoughts on Gil Hodges. 25 of the best baseball movies ever. 4 players facing last chance on Hall of Fame ballot. What a joke, right? I mean, if you're just going to plop that up there, might as well just not put anything up there. Might as well just say, hey, our commissioner's a dummy, and he's led us to a lockout for the 4th time in MLB history, and the MLB's been around before the United States was even a thing. You know what I mean? MLB's been around forever, and yet this is only the 4th lockout ever. Tells you all you need to know. And many players on Twitter changed their profile picture to match the same blank silhouette profile picture that is displayed on the MLB website roster profile picture. You've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And there are a lot of issues, emotions, other things to draw from and talk about with this issue, but there's a tweet that I saw that sums this all up pretty well. The tweet read, quote, "These players are real people, actually affected by this lockout, particularly those rehabbing from injury. It's not a cute game, and it's not, millionaires versus billionaires." And that makes perfect sense. Think about this. These guys that are rehabbing due to injury, and in baseball, think about all the guys that get hurt over the course of the season, and think about all the guys that have, long injuries. You know what I mean? Like, injuries that have to be, they get injured in the middle of the season, and, that rehab carries into the off-season and right up to the beginning of the next season. Those guys all of a sudden can't contact the team doctors and stuff like that. They can't. So what do? Right? That affects them. And there's a lot of those players that it affects. But I'm sure that was not thought about, right? In the 7 or 17-minute meeting or whatever it was. So, and this kind of goes back to what I said. There was a mad rush at free agency in the past week, which really leads me to believe that they knew this was coming. Teams, players, everybody knew this was coming, which is sad. That's part of the problem. If everybody knew this was coming, what does that say about the MLB? These teams, GMs, owners, players, it really shows that they had no faith that a deal could be done, which is incredibly sad. Because if they had faith that a deal would get done, they wouldn't, rush to get to sign anywhere, right? They'd be like, okay, I'm sure they're gonna get something done. I'll wait and really explore my options a little bit. Where now it was like, oh my God, they're gonna lock us out in 2 days. We better sign somewhere quick. Max Scherzer, Mets, Rougned Odor, Orioles. You know what I mean? Like, what was the other one? Javier Baez, Tigers. I gotta figure it out quick. That mad rush in free agency really shows that there was no faith from the players, teams, GMs. Like there was just no faith or hope anywhere in this that a deal would get done. Because if there was, you may not have seen such a mad rush at free agency leading up to the lockout. And I mean, hey, they predicted it perfectly, right? And it's really sad. And Rob Manfred, I really haven't been such a huge fan of him ever since he became the commissioner in 2015. And I gotta say, not a lot of people have, right? And I'm usually a person that has like unpopular opinions, and I'm a guy that says stuff that kind of goes against the grain of what other people say. But I'm right there with you if you don't like Rob Manfred. He stinks, right? He's awful. I don't like him either. He hasn't done anything. He has not done anything good for the game of baseball. And the best thing he's really done is, expand the playoffs in 2020. That was the best thing he's done. And that was after it took them 2 months to get the season started because nobody could agree on anything. He hasn't done anything for the game of baseball, and I'm not a huge fan of him.